All right, my friends. Well, some of you are at work, and I'm so thankful that you're joining me. Wherever you are, if you can, please try to ground yourself. And I'll show you how I set up for meditation. I love to be on the floor. So I'll sit down on the floor. For me, that just helps my body feel better. Of course, if you're at work, that might be a little odd. So maybe you just stay at your desk chair. But in that case, could you try to ground by placing your feet flat? And if you can kick your shoes off under your desk, I highly recommend. We're looking for this sense of anchoring and grounding. So if you happen to be at home or somewhere that you do feel comfortable enough to get on the floor, please do. And a couple of other things. We may like to move our back bodies up against either a wall for support or the back of your chair. If you are staying at your desk, if at all possible, try to slip your eyes closed when we begin our meditation so that your screen isn't asking you to pay attention to. We'll just try to disconnect from that for as long as possible for you today. Let's take a few movements in order to get ourselves situated and invite stillness into our bodies. Big breath up and in, arms will rise. It's okay if you don't want to do these beginning stretches too. You can pause and find your silence. Take a stretch and a little twist to your left. If there's a chair there, you might be holding the arm or the edge of your desk. Move your eyes a little past your left shoulder. Give your neck a nice twisty stretch. And rise on back to me. Arms and eyes forward. Twist to your right side. Using your hands as a little leverage, whatever you can get a hold of, for a gentle assist around the right corner. Eyes move to your right as well. And if there's space in front of you, when you come back to me, we're clasping our hands in front of our hearts, long extended arms, and we'll flip our palms away. Give yourself a nice wrist stretch here. Try to pull your pinkies and your thumbs back towards your nose, and then round your back, my friends, dropping your ears between your elbows, opening your upper back body. When you're breathing in, sit yourself back upright and let's switch positions. Now, if there's a chair behind you, you could grab the edges, and we're trying to puff our hearts forward. If there's space behind you, you could consider arms wrapping at forearms or hands clasping. Give yourself a big press up. Oh, I love to look up too. Feel your throat opening. Bring your collarbones a little higher. That feels good. So we're opening our lungs and our chests here in order to invite bigger breaths into this newfound space. Settle your hands back down somewhere comfortably and give your shoulders a few shrugs, my friends. So if you are at your desk, rather than resting them there, see if you can bring them to your lap, allowing more space to drop in from earlobes to shoulder blades. Now, for my personal practice, I like to look down to something that's really boring on the floor, that's not going to catch my attention. Usually, if I keep my eyes forward, there's birds out the windows, there's things happening that you're like, what's that? What's that? So we try to take our eyes downcast. And you're welcome to close them completely. That would be beautiful. But if you're not quite there, it doesn't feel comfy in your practice, close your eyes to little slits. You can still see, but things have become quite blurry and unfocused because you're looking through your eyelashes. And as we make our way into meditation, yogis, please don't think of yourself as a statue. If you need to move, if you get a little uncomfortable, reestablish your comfortable seat. That is the most important part of the practice so that we feel ready and eager and enjoyable in our seat. Well, I was super excited about today's practice because one of my favorite days is approaching. My friends, this Sunday is the spring equinox, and you may have also heard it referred to as the vernal equinox, but it's a beautiful day because I love daylight. It gives me energy. So this is the day that we experience equal hours of day and night. The spring equinox this year is coming up on Sunday. Sunday, March 20th, I think is the date. Yeah, March 20th. So we have that to look forward to, and hopefully you're feeling adjusted from springing forward your clocks this weekend. But no worries if you're not, because this meditation will take you there today. For any meditation, it may be nice to have just a little piece of scrap paper and a writing utensil nearby. Some folks like to have a journal for two reasons. This particular meditation may actually invoke some things in you that you're like, ooh, I want to hold on to that. Maybe you want to write it down. But sometimes in meditations, our minds are really active, and that's completely understandable. We're busy human beings. So if something is persistently popping into your mind, take a moment to jot it down so you can move away from it and know that you won't have forgotten it, that it'll be there later for you to come back to. So I give you a moment if you'd like to reopen your eyes and grab anything to write with, and if you need to resituate yourself. Okay, welcome back if you grabbed that. So we are moving into our spring equinox meditation. We might know that the equinox occurs twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall. My favorite one is arriving, just a few short days away. So why do I love this so much, yogis? Well, it offers us an invitation to come into harmony with ourselves. Sometimes I think of winter as quite an incubation period. We kind of go into hibernation mode sometimes. And then we have this beautiful, beautiful blossoming change happening with this season. So we can come into harmony with ourselves during the equinox by balancing our sides of our bodies, our masculine and feminine sides. No matter what gender we identify with, we all have feminine and masculine aspects of our personality. We can balance our intuition and our intellect. We can balance our heart spaces with our heads and our mindset. And we may even be creating a whole new chapter in our lives. But in the oncoming of spring, we visit the concept of balance between not just our physical bodies, but also our outer lives, and especially in the outdoors. Thinking of specific ways that currently we balance our lives, perhaps it's activity and rest, work and play, time for ourselves and connection with others, inward reflection versus outward activities, just to name a few ways that we're balancing our lives every single day. So we know how we can bring equilibrium into our bodies, but how about balancing in our minds? You can say yes to this question. Do we allow ourselves, our minds, periods of rest? We sure do, just like today in this meditation. So important. And therefore, we don't tend to overdo the activity side of our mindset. Meditation is, in my opinion, an excellent way to give your mind and your body conscious rest. And as we move through, I prefer and I lead guided meditations. For me, when I'm taking meditation, the only way for me to stay focused, even after many years of practice, is a guided meditation. When I take classes, if someone becomes silent, I lose all my focus immediately. So this is what I choose to lead as well, in the hopes that it will resonate with you. But don't worry, my friends. If it seems daunting, just slip away from my words and casually watch your breath. When our mind fatigues from focusing on one activity for too long, just a few minutes of simple breath work, feeling it move in your body, focusing on it in your mind, is a welcome break. And with this onset of the springy weather that's coming our way with the increased daylight hours, My recommendation for the best mindset is to get outside, make some time in the outdoors, helping our minds and body harmonize with nature. Shifting our internal focus of winter, our coming within, our snuggling up, our slowing down, we transition that into an external focus, outward exploration, stepping into nature, perhaps walking, maybe even coming into your playful side to balance your work side. What would it feel like to do a somersault on the lawn? I know that might sound crazy in our adult lives, but I guarantee if you do it, you will giggle. It feels so good. So sometimes we lose the play factor when we're adults. It's easier when we have kids or grandkids or pets, but even on our own, we can explore this, and it's a great way to harmonize and balance our lives. Now, if you're not really a nature person, you're like, I don't want the bugs and the wet grass on me, we could do a couple of other things. Take a drive, perhaps, into the country and kind of absorb nature being around you, into the mountains or to the ocean. Maybe you just put the window down and breathe in some crisp, fresh air. Touching some cool morning dew if you are a nature person, especially with bare feet. That can be very revitalizing, very grounding. And allow yourselves to absorb this new sense, these feelings, these emotions of harmonizing with nature, bringing happiness, joy, and playfulness into our bodies. Let's take a breath in together and perhaps envision or conceptualize what that might look like in our lives. And maybe it waits till the weekends when we're not quite so busy with work and driving or kids, whatever's on your schedule. We have this beautiful plan in mind. Now, more importantly, the spring equinox is a time for new beginnings, rebirth, newfound sense of self-care. So perhaps the easiest way I can help you envision this is what we notice in the spring. I've been noticing, not quite flowers yet, but we'll use flowers for today. But I've definitely been noticing some grasses growing up, some ornamental grasses growing up from the mulch, and really just looking so positive and excited. I'm looking forward to seeing them grow and bloom. But we definitely will notice our flowers, our daffodils start to bloom. And as we notice, or we can envision that happening, ask ourselves as we take this journey through the season, how do I want to bloom? How do I want to bloom? And what will help me blossom open? So if we think about blooming or blossoming, in my mind, it helps me conjure up the best version of me. You're just this amazing, beautiful sense of self. So what will help you blossom? What good intentions could you set that would allow your blooming, your growth? And what conditions will help you nurture this growth? So, my friends, does the image of a flower make sense for spring? We see them a lot this time of year, right? But I wanted to remind us today that the flower is not just that beautiful, maybe colorful, maybe covered in dewdrops blossom. It has these other parts. Think about the deep roots that are all dirty and messy down low, but they've been nurtured in this dirt and this soil, right? And without those roots and the bottom part of that dirty stem, this beautiful, maybe perfectly clean and colorful flower blossom wouldn't exist. So a really beautiful quote. There is a poet you may have heard of named Rumi, and a really beautiful quote is, "Sorrow prepares you for joy." sorrow prepares us for joy. I'm just going to move that word sorrow a little bit. So perhaps we think about that dirtiness. Maybe that's like a sadness at the bottom of the root. But then from that sorrow or sadness or dirtiness, this big, beautiful flower blooms out. So how does that relate to us? Well, obviously, the spring equinox is about beauty and looking forward, how the flowers bloom up and forward towards the sun. But it's also about acknowledging that dirt that has allowed us to grow, that beautiful mess that's beneath the surface. That's our self-growth, right? It might be our pain, our sorrow, our heartbreaks. But these experiences have shaped our lives, and they may be the basis of our transformations. These may be the moments that offer us the most self-growth and a newfound sense of self-care. So I just love that analogy of the flower as it pertains to our transformation. Now, if you do feel that there is some pain from the past, something that you've experienced, are we able to acknowledge that and embrace the potential that this will give us a better future, that we've become a little stronger or more knowledgeable or grown a thicker skin as a result of our experiences in the past? Look at your future you, at your present life, moving each hour, each day, each week as a blooming flower. Just envision yourself. Even if you're not a flower person, it's okay. Just envision any flower that you can possibly think of right now. And so we think about a bud that hasn't yet bloomed. Now work your way all the way down to those roots and envision yourself as this flower. What was in the soil that fed the base of that flower, allowed the bud to start to transform into a beautiful being? Turn your attention to any feelings or experiences that may have really shaped you and allowed you to become this amazing human being who you are today. Give yourself space for anything that comes up that feels challenging for you. Might have been something from childhood, might have just been something from today or this week. Consider possibly placing your hand over your heart space and take a big breath in. This small act of holding yourself is so powerful. And we offer this as a sense of care and compassion for whatever grief or hurt shows up. We take our time here allowing these feelings to be fully present. Too often, we're busy in life and we're stuffing down what we're perceiving to be bothersome or negative or problematic, and we don't allow ourselves to express and feel these emotions or sensations fully. But just be aware of how your heart feels today, and let's use it as transformative power to grow from a bud to a blossom. Now that we've offered ourselves space to envision or feel these experiences and the emotions that come along with it, do you notice how you've grown as a result? Or perhaps it's a work in progress and you're planning on growing and changing as a result. Maybe it's laying a foundation for you, for the newest, most amazing version of yourself. And let's be frank and honest here. Some moments may offer you wisdom and others may not. That's okay. Sometimes it's going to take us years or decades or a therapy or whatever it may be to find growth and an experience. But today, let's at least be open-minded to think of the whole flower, how it grows and what it grows from and becomes. If you're really not a flower person, you could think of the phoenix, how it rises from the ashes. Or a flower that has always resonated with me, just to give you an idea, is the lotus flower, which if you've ever envisioned it, it grows from the mud. But then when you see it on the top of the surface of water, it's this amazing, beautiful plant. Sometimes we struggle to find our personal growth, but my friends, in this moment, right here and right now, any moments of sorrow or hurt have turned you into a beautiful soul. Maybe we aren't ready to believe that or hear that yet, but just trust me. And it is the foundation for your newly blossoming flower this season. Let's agree to transform any pain in our lives into energy, into this brilliant life force that will nourish our roots and we'll feel a shift. Let's breathe in the possibility that this may be true. With each breath, we'll feel that energy, that intention strengthen and grow. Focus on your bud, or maybe you have a full flower. Focus on your petals. What beauty lies here? What excites you when you think of a transformation and your flower blossoming? In other words, how can you become the most magnificent version of yourself? It just feels so good. It's fun, isn't it, to envision our best selves, what we hope for ourselves. Let's breathe into our hearts again as we do this. Breathe in expansively, maybe more than you have this morning. Remember, we opened our chest earlier, so our lungs are ready to breathe in a bunch of new energy and life force. And then scatter on the exhale this energy, these thoughts, your intentions, or this possibility of transformation to every part of your body. Tips of fingers, tops of head, bottoms of feet. Feel this energy embracing you. Maybe you want to give yourself a hug here, wrapping yourself into like a little cocoon of new energy and filling every part of your being. And together, we're taking a deep breath in, an expansive inhale. Any version, open mouth or through the nose, exhale that feels good to you. Trying that breath again, but on this breath, we're envisioning in a little more detail, what condition does your flower, or remember, if you want to be the phoenix, whatever really resonates with you, whatever image, what condition does it need to grow? So for example, I love sunlight, so I'm going to say that my flower requires a lot of outside time, a lot of sunlight. Maybe for you, your flower needs to be watered, so you like to take extra time in the shower, really warm, nourishing showers, rinsing off the old, bringing in the new. Just a fun exercise for yourself to determine what you need in order to become your best you. Maybe you name your flower. It's going to be this amazing new form of energy or an intention. Remember, we're tapping into our playful side a little bit here as well. Let's try another beautiful breath in together. In through your nose, please. Try through the nostrils. Easy full body exhalation. And my friends, if you did have something to write with today and you thought like, these are the things, and you wrote down, these are the things I'm going to need in order to grow and blossom into my best self. If you do make a list of anything, put it somewhere you can see it. Put it on your bathroom mirror to remind you every day of the self-care and the nourishment that we require to blossom. In this spring, let's make a commitment to one another to fully embrace who we are becoming, to honor the path, to honor what happened in the past, our experiences that make us this whole, amazing, unique individual, what got us here, what rooted us in the soil and is allowing us to transform season after season. As our mind fluctuates through today, take a moment here and there to bring yourself back to your breath. No matter how chaotic things are in your outside space, inside it's always so comfy and quiet and cozy. Let's make it a point in between our meetings to come back within. The coming weeks, we're going to notice a huge transformation. I'm hoping it'll bring forth a renewed energy, a vitality that you may not have felt during the winter months. So enjoy, my friends. I challenge you. I invite you to join me to stretch ourselves in new ways, physically and mentally. Follow this increasing energy of spring. And I'm hoping that will lead us all down the road, the path of growth and transformation. Coming back to the present space. If your eyes were closed fully, start to really slowly flutter your eyelids back open. Bring your eyes forward to me. Welcome back, my friends, and meet your hands either over your heart, or I like to do a little palms in prayer. Thumbs, the heart center, and then we'll lift our heart up into our palms or our thumbs. Tuck your chin in a gesture of gratitude for the time you dedicated to your self-growth, to your yoga, to your meditation practice today. And a little bow towards your fingertips. I bow to you, my friends, in honor of your practice. And I thank you. I bow in gratitude for allowing me to lead you on your spring or your vernal equinox meditation. I hope today is amazing. Don't forget to soak up some sunshine for a minute or two. Have a beautiful Wednesday, and namaste.